Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Adventures in Platforming.
We're doing these in seasons now?
I don't know, I don't remember what our last episode number was or whatever, so...
So it's volume 2.
Yes.
Seasons imply that we have some sort of schedule for this.
True. And yes, this is sort of a game we already did.
But updated.
Yes.
Newer, if you will.
We checked out Lucky's Tale when nobody cared about it.
We checked out Super Lucky's Tale.
Yes,
the
correct.
Second
Sorry.
version.
Super
First
Lucky's
one
Tale.
was the Oculus one that even fewer people care about.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the better games you could get on Oculus, let's be real.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember raving about it and I think I got a retweet from some of the people that...
I know you were retweeted by one of the VPs of Playful.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, these people have no followers. People play this game. Come on.
It's very neat. It's very cute.
Yeah.
I hope it's found a bit more of an audience on the Switch where it feels like it fits better.
It seemed to, because I seem to see all kinds of people raving about it.
We spent years evading
It's a very...
this family of villainous children.
It's the kind of game that you don't see much anymore. It's very mid-budget.
Stay behind me, Lucky.
Yes.
Which...
This is the sort of game that we started this show to talk about.
Yep. I miss them. I miss them real bad.
Yeah.
Look at that art. Look at this. They're all adorable.
We prepared to
Yeah,
make
we
our
like to
last stand
mostly
before
focus
the
on
world.
3D platformers because that's kind of a...
But just when all
I don't want to say it's a
seemed
lost
lost,
art, but there aren't as many
something
of them these
strange
days.
happened.
The 2D platformer has come back into vogue in such a fashion that it's much more common to find those.
Itself or to protect us. Its pages scattered wildly in the storm it unleashed.
So, that's probably going to continue to be our focus, in as much as that's actually possible.
Chasing his
Yeah.
family to somewhere far from Foxington.
It's a shame. I wish
Wasn't the kitty
I could
litter the book
stream
wanted?
the 3DS somehow, because I'd really love to stream
Before the portal
3D
closed,
Land, Mario
it took
3D
my little
Land.
brother Lucky as well.
Which is a game that this one seems to take some inspiration from.
Yeah, but I was playing that this
Without the
weekend,
Guardian Sigil, my team
and
can't
I
travel
had
between
finished
worlds.
off in World
We've
6
been
of the
stuck
Special
here
Worlds,
ever since that day.
Mhm.
and man, are some of those freaking hard.
I don't know
Some
where
of those
that
are
portal
very
took me,
mean.
but I know that Lucky is
So this
still out
entire
there.
intro is new. I think the story that it's telling is also essentially new.
I don't remember a lick of voice
And I'm
acting in the
current head of
original.
what remains of the Guardian
The
Order.
original was
But this isn't
a
my
much
story.
that
This
it had a very
is
thin
Lucky's tale.
premise. They seem to have kind of layered this on top of it.
But hey, good on them.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that every time Lucky's Tale comes out, it kind of, a little bit more gets added onto it. Quite a lot bit more, actually, in this case. But the new Super Lucky's Tale, I do appreciate that we're at 2 different additional titles, super titles, in order to make it clear that this is an updated version, because Lucky's Tale, Super Lucky's Tale, to new Super Lucky's Tale. Hopefully we get a Lucky's Tale 2 one day.
Hopefully. And as much as I absolutely, completely adore Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, I would like a 3D platform sequel to this.
Same.
Yes.
It's not that those games aren't great, they often are, but they're a much more served demographic at this stage. But look at them, everything here is adorable. Every single thing.
This honestly, it's very strange to say this looks better than the Xbox
Phone
One
version.
It's
I
got
think it might run at a slightly lower frame rate, but otherwise, yeah.
it's got a cuter look to it.
Yeah,
Very
there's some
slight.
stuff to the art. In general, they've made slight alterations to make the game reward exploration a little bit more.
It's gonna get a skip through the text here. Not that it is
It's all good. It's all
but-
worth reading.
Yes.
I promise.
Yes. Not that it isn't good. It just doesn't really work in video.
doesn't work in the form that we're working in. I really like the sort of dig dive that they gave Lucky. It just sort of feels good to do.
Pretty cool.
Digging onto the ground in general is kind of a fun mechanic. And the tail out of the ground is adorable. But it's a pretty simple moveset. It's very much a game that you could hand just about anyone. Like, if they have any ability to navigate 3D space, they'll probably have worked out all of Lucky's moves pretty quickly. There's a bit of depth in, like, the arc that the sort of dig dive sends you in, but just enough to give it some flavor. Also, because there are undiggable surfaces, when you use the dive there, he kind of slides along the ground, which can be very fast in certain situations. It's fun to use. Yeah, otherwise a very, kind of... Oh, this guy. The golem doesn't even seem upset about what just happened.
I vanish.
Oh, I remember there was a period where you just said I vanish a lot.
Yes. It's pretty great.
It's good. It's cool. Yeah, pages. That's what you're here for. That's the core collectible. Everything else feeds back to pages. Or lives, but mostly pages.
Pages, not pages.
Very different.
Yes, very different.
Not traditionally engaging. Yeah, it feels really good. I can't remember if the Xbone version still had a fixed camera. I know that the Oculus version, the camera is... Well, it's an Oculus game. The camera's weird. But I think the Xbone version might have had like a fixed camera. That's gone in this one. Which, even though a lot of levels are fairly linear, it gives them a slightly greater sense of depth. Yeah, and that's how you reach sublevels. A lot of them have little challenges like this, sort of like the Mario 3D Land sort of style. You gotta get all of them wheels.
Oh, God. I had more time than I thought.
Yeah. Remember, it's fairly kid friendly. It's supposed to be something that a child can do. I blame playing video games with diatribes.
Yes. Well, that reminds me of something interesting I was noting when playing New Super Mario Brothers with the kids. It's like, oh, this is super easy. Kids are gonna get this in a cinch. It's like, no, they didn't spend like their entire youth playing really hard Mario games. It's not easy.
Yeah, like that's always like the thing. Like those those games always seem easier for those of us who have spent now more than 2 decades learning to play them.
Yep.
Like, people have kind of cottoned onto that concept with regards to why 2D games are often much easier to grasp, but... Oh, also, you're allowed to go back into that sublevel and get that page.
Where was it again? Now I'm totally disoriented.
You'll find it on the way back.
Yeah, man, when I was playing Mario 3D Land, just like getting used to that weird camera angle, it was really hard to make a lot of those jumps.
Yeah, that was very much them accepting that because they designed the 3DS without an inherent second analog stick, they really, really could not leave the camera in the player's control for the most part.
Yeah.
Which, you know, realistic, natural. Design your camera system for the game you're playing. For the game you're making. Oh, Instagram. Get used to Greg the Nail Golem. He's going to be everywhere. Every single load screen.
See, doesn't like the tempo of this sound like it was immediately about to end, but you actually have a lot of time.
Yeah, it really it wants to give off a much greater sense of urgency than it has. Gotta get those diamonds. I believe one of the pages has to do with those diamonds.
Gotta cut all the diamonds? I don't know. I vanish.
And now, while Wales is gone, I will go on my 10-page rant about why the old Tony Hawk games are 3D platformers.
What?
They are. That's what feels like their core inspiration.
Alright, I'm cool with doing a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 episode.
Heck yeah. I've been replaying them, and their sense of scattered collectibles and simple objective-based gameplay owes a huge debt to Mario 64.
I don't suppose 3 ever ended up in the small collection of PS2 games on PS4.
Nope, none of them did. They're a nightmare of licensing.
Oh boy.
Because they both have licensed soundtracks and the skaters themselves are licensed.
Wonderful.
We will never see them again. It's actually really tragic. A huge part of an era essentially lost to any future player, unless illicit things happen. Let's just throw a rock.
Yeah. Okay, where is the sea now?
Where could it be?
Where could it be? Believe it or not, it's just sea.
I wasn't expecting Greatest American Hero, I don't know why. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing of prayer. Yeah, once he's out of your hands long enough, he'll just go back to his spawn point.
I only know of Greatest American Hero through Seinfeld.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. I must be out, or I pick up the phone. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home. That's an idea that I don't think exists anymore because no one wants to leave messages via voice anymore.
Yeah.
Just the idea of the incredibly long, irritating voicemail.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually left someone a voicemail.
Yeah, like if I can't get in contact with someone, I'm going to text them instead.
Yep. I mean, I don't even call people, I just text.
I usually would text someone beforehand.
Yeah. I really want to find the sea now. Oh, there it is. I see it.
Mm.
Sorry. Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, that's forever instinctual. Yeah, I love how colorful this is. It's very pleasing.
Great soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's different from the original. I'd have to go back and fire it up, but it sounds different.
Oh, you missed the hidden page. Oh well, you can go back later.
There was a hidden page?
Yeah, it said that.
Oh, I wasn't reading any of that though.
I did not come here to read.
I vanish.
I'm used to it. I like the stained glass version. Yeah, here's the slightly Mario 64-esque boss challenge setup.
Aqueducts? No. No.
It's fine. It's not a water level. Oh, you can buy a bunch of outfits,
Oh, man.
but none of them are quite as cute as the scarf, which they usually get rid of, so...
Oh, this hat. Look at that.
It is a very good hat. It costs 700 coins. You don't have anywhere near enough for that good hat. The Lederhosen is less powerful.
Go fetch. Okay.
I must be out, or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be? Tell your friend that you care about them. A small friend, a rocky roundhead friend.
These little things remind me of Korg from Thor Ragnarok for some reason. And now I'm just envisioning a version of this game where all the robots are voiced by Taika Waititi.
That's a fair idea.
That would be fantastic.
That'd be worthwhile. Giovanni is such a bad pun. And now we see a slightly more 3D land style world.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
With a mix of like this gimmick of carrying the head kind of drags it into like a slightly more evil looking Captain Toad Treasure Tracker level.
That's a game I need to play more of. Does that qualify as a platformer?
I'd call it a puzzle platformer. Or it's just a platformer where you don't jump.
Yeah.
We allow Bionic Commando into that club.
Well, that's right, you can't jump in Bionic Commando. I forget that.
Meh. Except for the ones we don't talk about.
What, where the arm is his wife? I'm sorry, spoilers.
Oh man, I can't believe you spoiled that 10-year-old video. Oh god, that game's 11 years old. Okay, grappling with my mortality just a little bit more.
Fine. Totally fine.
Is it?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Just wait till
Yeah.
the Wii U turns 10 years old.
2 years, baby.
Was it that soon?
It was a 2012 console.
Oh yeah, that was the year my son was born.
Your son, already more of a success than the Wii U.
And my 30th birthday. That was my present, was the Wii U.
I mean, it's a good game. It's got some good games on it.
I enjoyed it.
It's got one of the best 2D Mario platformers.
It does. Has one of the best 3D Mario platformers.
I did not get a chance to play it with friends, which I think would have increased its lasting appeal for me.
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as 3D Land.
3D Land is a very focused experience.
Yeah, I think because of the fact that it's multiplayer, the stages are a little... I don't even know the right word for it.
They kind of have to be broader in a certain way.
Exactly. But it's still a very good game.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I would generally rather play 3D Land or Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a knock. Those are both games I would rather play than most games.
Yeah, New Super Mario U is very good.
Tremendous.
Yes. Having just played through it with the kids, it's very, very good. Although I was a bit disappointed to find out that whole mode where you could like draw
Yeah, boost
platforms
mode
and
is gone.
stuff. Yeah.
There's really no way to implement it properly,
No.
but still. It is a reason to play the Wii U version if you have it. But only if you've got like a bunch of players that you intend to play with. Boost mode is a very fun thing to be in turns both incredibly helpful and like the meanest person imaginable. Yeah, lucky when burrowing cannot be harmed.
Perfect.
Completely unkillable.
My delivery was terrible.
Yeah, Male Golem has a lot of bad jokes.
I
And I mean
that
that in
joke.
only the most affectionate way. You like dad jokes.
Yes.
You kind of have the excuse of being one.
That's probably why I like ukulele so much.
Ukulele.
Trouser snake.
Yeah. I mean, that's less upsetting than something like, oh, there's a lot in...
A lot of bee jokes.
No, I just mean in terms of like Banjo-Kazooie made a lot more.
Oh,
That kind of-
did it?
Oh, it made plenty. A lot of them were more British in nature at the time, but some of them were just the same kind of immature, like Lago the Toilet.
Yeah, those are games I really need to play more of, considering the Banjo-Kazooie game I've played the most is the one with vehicles.
Which is not even a bad game, it was
No.
just the wrong game at the wrong time.
Yes. It's like, hey, guys, Banjo-Kazooie is back in this very odd experience.
Very unique experience that's totally worth having, but which set the exact wrong tone.
Yeah.
The way I would look at it is that the story of Banjo-Kazooie 3 / Nuts and Bolts development is actually really interesting, because Nuts and Bolts was always a Banjo game, but it was a spin-off that they were kind of tinkering around with, just internally codenamed Banjo-Buildy. But originally, they had a bunch of different ideas for what Banjo-Kazooie 3 was going to be. One of them was that they were going to advertise the game as a very strict remake of Banjo-Kazooie, but when you started playing it, and you started redoing old levels, crazy things would happen. The concept that was eventually revealed to the public involved that... So you know the giant termite mound in the center of the first level?
Yeah.
Originally, you would start doing objectives in the first level, and then a giant termite would break out of that mound and completely alter the shape of the level.
Huh.
You would have new objectives in it. That was their idea, which was probably a little too cute to ever actually work.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cute to talk about, but then you have to sell that to people, and, like, the only way that works is if you're selling it on deliberate deception. Which, bit of a hard sell. Then, you know, there were, of course, more traditional sequels that kind of got shot down on the basis that Microsoft didn't have, well, speaking of the aspect of this that draws us to 3D platformers, Microsoft did not think that 3D platformers sold anymore. So that was why Banjo-Kazooie was allowed to continue, because that was like, well, we can try to sell the vehicle aspect. People like to race, people like cars.
To be fair, I don't think they were totally wrong at the time.
It was the wrong time to be selling that, but at the same time, it was... They had already committed to selling people more Banjo. Like, that was the problem. Because they did a conceptual trailer for it that was just them showing the new Banjo and Kazooie models and like showing a really nice HD render of like Spiral Mountain and just the words Banjo is back. So they had already, like, on some level committed to, we're going to sell you the Banjo-Kazooie 3 that you keep saying you want. And they did not do that, so it presented problems. Like, they basically had to pick between the two bad options they had of going through with a game that they were probably right to assume was not going to sell great, or just pissing off a bunch of consumers. In this case, they gambled and lost, because the resultant product they made didn't sell to anyone. But, yeah. That was 2008. It was a heady time.
Yeah.
That was 12 years ago. The 360 doesn't feel old in my head. But it's very old now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of aspects of that generation of games that lasted so long that people still haven't started to unpack what they were, what kinds of...
Oh my god.
Oh, you're looking at more... Oh,
Fedora.
Oh, the Indiana Jones one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happening.
You got the cash.
Wait, what? Why am I not wearing my fedora?
You have to select the fedora.
How do I do that? That sounds complicated.
Just go back in the shop. And you just immediately left.
There we go. Alright, we're good. We're all fedora'd up.
Yes!
There you go. Can't believe you're ready to take on Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Wales is kicking me from the call forever in 3, 2, 1. I don't even know where your antipathy comes from. It's not a particularly bad game.
It was just not great, and just the you know what really messed with me was
It was the mouths. It wasn't.
it was the cutscenes, because he has like a horrifying side mouth that made no sense.
And yet you accept Sonic's mono eye.
It was just one of those uncanny valley horrific things where it's like, oh, this is an endless runner level. Okay, I get things. Cool. Man, show me some runner.
Yeah. There's a handful of levels like this in the game. There's also a handful of just regular side-scrolling levels. There's a little bit of... This is actually a good introductory platformer just because it's a little bit of every kind of platformer.
Well, how do you feel about Bubsy's Endless Runner?
It's very bad.
Have you actually played it?
I've watched a fairly significant amount of it. Like, it was one of those things. I watch people that are avowedly fans of Bubsy play it and be disappointed by
They
it.
exist?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
The way that they described it was that essentially that Bubsy on Genesis and SNES is like the exact middle ground of a platformer you would get at like a frickin' rental place in the 90s. Like, it was not the worst thing you had rented, definitely. Not the best thing you had rented, definitely. Just this side of passable, just good enough for the weekend rental.
Okay, but why a fan?
Because, I mean, dude, we both...
Nostalgia?
Well, it's not even just nostalgia, it's like, that kind of game helps you to calibrate, like... One is in part because people have, in retrospect, exaggerated Bubsy as being the worst of that kind of platform, which it's definitely not. And two, it's just like, there is a certain charm in that kind of workman-like game. And that is probably a good way to describe Bubsy, workman-like.
I suppose a lot of Bubsy's reputation retroactively came
It's mostly
from 3D. Yeah.
Like, I'd say it was also the Jaguar game, which is really bad, but no one played it. Bubsy and Fractured Cartoons, it's really, really bad. Like, original Bubsy's mechanics, but with levels like 9 times the size.
Oh.
In every direction, so like there's just a lot more blind jumps. It's very bad. Not recommended. Wheels didn't actually touch like several levels in this area. So. Just for anyone who does end up watching this, there's a lot more game to discover here. But yeah, like they as avowed fans of Bubsy, who thought that the Woolly Strike Back was fine, pretty okay, a little too short, considered Bubsy and Paws on Fire to be disappointing. You get them, Lucky. I think there's, of course, value in just things that, you know, don't necessarily have to be the best of what they are. They just have to be interesting. Speaking of things that are interesting, I've been on an Oddworld kick.
Nice.
Now that Stranger's Wrath is out on the Switch. That game,
Relatively cheap, too, right?
I think it's $30. It's a little more than I would have expected, but I mean, it's also got improvements that don't exist in the other versions, so... The biggest one probably being that the game now has a run button. If you're not familiar with the game, Stranger has the capacity to start bounding into a really, really fast run that can be used as an attack. And originally, this was just something he would automatically do after walking for a certain period of time and not going up hills. But it felt really kind of loose and ambiguous, so the Switch version just adds the ability to hold the Y button and run like a Mario game.
Nice.
Which is actually pretty nice. But that game, after 15 years, I think, is certifiably one of the best aged games of that time. Still has a great art direction, still feels entirely unique. Still has a very interesting plot. But
Well, I'm glad that more people are getting to play Oddworld. It seemed to kind of vanish for a while, but now it's kind of available for everyone. So
yeah, I'm hoping that New and Tasty gets ported to the Switch.
that would be sweet.
Because that is one that I have not given as much time as I think it deserves.
That was a close one.
But the Oddworld games, all of them still play really well, actually. Like in a really surprising fashion. Every level, every world has a very charming villain in this.
Yo finds Kerbal Powsome. She finds Kerbal Chew Meowsome. Mousy Rabbit a Burbot. Whippy, you wormled that.
Good talk.
I don't know why this worm is so funny. It's I don't know.
It's really the amount of outfit that a worm is managing to wear here is kind of impressive.
I swear this worm was not in the Xbox version.
I think you might be right here. I think that a lot of the hub worlds got fleshed out for the Switch version.
Rubble dirt. Top 'em jibs, Twonkin gerbil ermish. Twerple nibs, wormkin rops, Perkins are a roo wig. Snickle worm, weebishny wibble.
The voice actor is doing gibberish, but it doesn't sound totally like gibberish. Oh god, so good.
Just make everyone sound like Boomhauer.
Piggy Peril. Alright, fine.
Get used to pigs.
Pigs in space!
I like that they felt the need to explain the existence of invisible coins. But yeah, Mail Golem will continue to follow you, but every hub world has its own. And here's our first properly side-scrolling level. Which managed to feel quite good, despite how much of a problem that can be in primarily 3D games.
I gotta find out who did the soundtrack. Very good.
Yeah.
Which will be true again for the next game we'll probably cover, which will be Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair.
But we know.
Yeah. Yeah, that game freaking rules. How do I get to the secret page? Not like that. Oh, I was wondering if there was lives, and now I have the answer. Oh, you know, that's another thing I wish I could turn off in the new Super Mario Brothers games for the kids, is the lives.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids getting a game over is not so fun.
I remember very irrationally thinking for some reason the first time I played Mario 64 that if I got a game over and that my file would be deleted. I don't know why I thought this, but I was convinced of it.
There were a lot of weird things like that.
It was probably like a playground rumor.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen? There's a strange new 3D world out there.
Pop-up about installing a Windows update happens when I'm in the middle of a level. And on a computer with 2 screens, it does it on the screen that I'm staring at. Which is not the primary screen! What are you doing, Windows?
Everything's fine. Everything's fine like wine. Remember when computers were good? Trick question, they were never good.
You should never. I am a computer programmer. You should never touch computers with anything important.
Anyone who tells you that, like, computers are good and exist to solve your problems is lying to you and intends to sell you an expensive program that won't do either.
Sure.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Something about, but yeah, I hope Nintendo announces something new with Mario other than the 3D World port that, by all accounts, exists. I'd absolutely buy a 3D World port, but at the same time.
Super Mario 3D World Land Collection? What would they call that?
Super Mario 3D Galaxy, just to troll people.
Super Mario 3D Land World. Super Mario 3D Land Party.
So how do you feel about Donkey Kong Land?
Like any of them?
Let's go with any.
I've not actually played much of them other than
I played a lot of them as a child. They're
Seems
not
okay.
great.
Okay.
I played a lot of them as a child. They were absolutely the sort of thing that you got because you wanted to play something like Donkey Kong Country on your Game Boy, and they gave you that. They were like Donkey Kong Country, but they left you feeling.
Well, it sounds like me and Final Fantasy Legends, except it worked out a lot better for me.
Yeah, no, that's a much better choice. Like, Donkey Kong Land was one of those things where, like, oh, this is impressive that you did this on Game Boy. You shouldn't have.
Can you see that I missed the sea?
Fluky.
I'm gonna do one more level, and then we'll call this a show.
Yeah. In conclusion, play new Super Lucky's Tale. Also play Off-Road.
Yes, you should. And if you are still not convinced and happen to have Game Pass, you can always try the previous version there.
No, the camera will be different, and it'll be missing some levels, and in general, still a good game.
Yeah.
Just not as good a game.
But I think if you are a fan of 3D platformers and have a Switch, this is kind of a must play.
Yeah, it's a real it's a real gem of a little game. New Super Lucky's Tale also incorporates some of the DLC from Super Lucky's Tale, so it's a bit more of a substantial experience in that way. Don't worry, they'll kill them. Oh, this level's great. It's a big one.
Come on!
This game makes me happy.
Yeah,
that's like the best endorsement I can give a game, really. It's just like, this just makes me happy.
Yeah. Farmer Duncan.
Walking Derbalermish.
Say it, Cat.
It's listen to these worms talk. It's great.
They might be pigs, it's hard to tell. Worm pigs.
Another good song.
Yeah, it's a consistently excellent presentation.
You can just tell like a lot of care went into making this game.
Yeah, it's clear, like, when you're on your like third iteration of something, it's clear that like whoever's making it absolutely believes in it.
Yeah.
Please, Lucky. You're our only hope. I would be interested in learning more about this franchise as a whole, just because, I mean, clearly whoever's making it cares a lot about it. But, you know, I don't know much about Playful's history, so...
I'll have to find these people at a convention sometime.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I think the only time I met anyone involved with platformers was way back when, before Shovel Knight was ridiculously popular. Meeting some of the Yacht Club Games people, like before the Kickstarter had been successfully funded.
Oh, wow.
So I was just talking to them like, you know... Yeah,
now you can talk to them and say, what's it feel like to finally be free?
Yeah. I think I was talking to them, and they were like giving me the whole sales pitch. I'm like, yeah, I'm already a Kickstarter background. Like,
Please, I promise, you don't have to do this.
If you guys think you're going to make the goal, and they seemed honestly unsure. And I think either that day or like the next day it had been funded.
They are currently working on something for PS4 called Starchild, which is some sort of sci-fi platformer.
I played their like Super Smash Brothers mode for Shovel Knight yesterday, and it was actually quite impressive. It was like, this is just an extra mode. This is really good.
Sad to see that on their website, their most recent blog post is that they're having to cut a bunch of staff, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That sucks.
For, like, Yacht Club games, or do you mean Playful?
No, I'm looking at Playful.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't do as good as they hoped.
Yeah, or at the very least, it didn't do as good as they needed it to.
Yeah.
Which can often be two sad, very different things.
It's a shame, because it did get lots of good buzz. That doesn't always mean anything.
Yeah. Hopefully, they continue to be pretty considerate. They can stay on their feet. Not much about where they come from as a company. They're They apparently have their own weekly live stream. Start asking them in the Twitch chat. Yeah, can't seem to find much about their history, so... Hopefully not. Oh, I should, this is not a platformer, but I should check how Wonderful 101 Remastered is doing on Kickstarter.
Very good.
It had just passed, 1.5 million stretch goal last night, I think.
Okay, actually just up to my pledge.
Nice.
They added the digital plus physical tier, so...
Of course. We are currently at 1,566,000.
Nice. So then it slowed down a bit.
Yeah, but everything does. It'll probably speed back up in the final week.
Yeah.
It also always does. That's not a platform, but we endorse it. Haven't played it, you should. There's an interesting video I saw put together about the original pitch concept for that game. If you haven't heard about it, it's probably worth checking out. I'll send you the link later. But basically, when they originally pitched it to Nintendo, their intention was it was going to have the same gameplay style of like the Unite Morphs, but it was going to, they were pitching it as starring all of Nintendo's core cast. Like it would have been a crossover with like Mario and Link and Captain Falcon and all that.
Interesting.
Well, note, there is one place that is not blocked off that you can dig under. Or you'll ignore it. It was a very interesting, apparently quite, well, not trouble, but challenging development. There you go. There's the ticket. Now you're on the troll. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know where you were going with that either. Oh. Like, I can't hear the music right now, because then I'd just be hearing echoes of us from 30 seconds ago, but my brain is just subbing in, like, Radio's not playing music for some reason.
Let's picture some banjo and violin. You're good.
Oh, you meant banjo as in the actual musical instrument. I was thinking of banjo today. I might be a little broken. But when I try to imagine just banjo as an instrument, I just think of the Rainbow Connection, so... The Rainbow Connection gets sued by Disney. Prove me wrong.
Litigation. Yeah. Litigation.
Yeah, we're gonna be bummed. Why are there such great deals on our hotels?
Why do these fees gotta be like that? You could see it coming. That is still maybe my favorite part of the, I think it was 2011 Muppet movie. It was just the frickin' like weird, messed up version of Rainbow Connection. It plays it's just advertising a really shitty motel. Our wedding chapel is 24 hours. No marriage certificate is needed. You defeated that boss. That large chicken. What up? Oh. Yes.
No one tuned into this on the assumption that you were a pro gamer. It's fine.
But I have to give the illusion.
Do you?
The illusion.
have time for my illusions, Dad.
Alright, time for an Arrested Development platformer.
I don't know what that would look like. Like, that could only have happened on the Super Nintendo, let's be real. Like, if the Super Nintendo, if
Yeah.
Arrested Development, Super Nintendo concurrent, Arrested Development would have been an ill-conceived 3D platformer.
It's like a weird PlayStation era platformer narrated by Ron Howard. That's all you need.
I can't even. Oh, that's a nightmare. It just plays like it's just made in the Jersey Devil engine. If I've gone more obscure than Jersey Devil, I could.
We never did the remaster of Voodoo Vince, did we?
No, we did not. Voodoo
boy.
Vincenthy. You have to acknowledge Voodoo Vince.
Do we?
The people demand it.
Who? Which people?
The people. The people.
Okay.
Well, I'm people. I've been demanding Voodoo Vince for years.
Sure. Alright, well,
It's troubling to consider that that's been years at this stage, yes.
Alright, let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far.
I'm very sorry. Super Lucky's Tale is still available at retail. I believe it's $40.
Correct. It's available on the eShop. You have X-Bone on Game Pass. Or
You
you
get
could,
the less new version.
or you could spend 20 of your American dollars on it, I believe, on X-Bone.
Yeah, if you have the choice to switch version, it's definitely the better one.
Yeah, definitely much better. But either
It's
way,
good. You
please
can't go
check it
wrong
out.
with it.
Yeah. It's good stuff. We will see you next time. You can reach me on
Wheels
Twitter
Reb.
at @wheels or leave us comments on the video. Any games you're curious about, you want us to check out. I will spend my hard-earned dollars to check them out, so you don't have to.
That seems like a
Unless-
bad guarantee to give people.
Well, yes, unless they look really bad. And no, I will not be playing Bubsy 3D.
Someone send this man a code for frickin' Ty the Tasmanian Tiger on Switch.
When does that come out?
Shortly, I
Is it
think.
soon? It's soon.
Let me check. Tiger Switch. It is. Okay, this is the Kickstarter. This already happened. Please, I don't need the Kickstarter. I need to know when it. Okay, March 31st.
Okay, so I have some time. Alright, so anyway, next time we'll
Get
be
that
back.
Persona 5 Royal on the same day.
Next time we'll be back with probably Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair.
Yeah,
Peace out.
see ya.